Ladies and gentlemen, Marie. Thank you.
Right, I've got 15 minutes with you to summarize nearly a 10-year study, so it's going to be tough, but I'll do my best. I really want to project you into the future, because I believe that we really need to rethink, the world of work. We really need to make sense out of what the future of work is going to be like. So the next 15 minutes, I'm going to concentrate on that. I call it smarting your day, because this is very much what, in accordance to the study that we've done on the future of work, 2040 is going to be about, okay? Working is going to be about smarting your day. It all started, may not have the right one, that's it. It all started nearly in 2007, and only in 2010, I published the first result of a study presenting 3 scenarios about the future of work. And when I first presented EcoOffice, Gattaca, and the Hive, I probably received very harsh criticism. Okay? I was an alien. It was whole science fiction, and it will never happen. When you look back at those scenarios now, actually, we are not so far from what an EcoOffice is about. Or even, considering, working from home is not also bad. Gattaca, keep you here, is probably today completely out of date. So I wanted to push it forward, and I really wanted to project again the scenarios 10 years ahead and look at 2040. All the study which I'm presenting is based around the future study that I'm doing around trend analysis, building scenarios, road mapping. So I'm going to start the presentation by sharing with you some of the trends which I think are going to be shaping our future. We're then going to look at the profile of a digital worker and what it looks like with this individual who is going to be going at work maybe in 2040. And I'm going to decode what a day in the life of this digital worker is going to be like in 2040, and then giving you a quick conclusion. Okay, so trends shaping our future. There are a lot of trends, okay? And this year, we actually said goodbye to a lot of trends. Things like CD-ROMs and DVDs, things like public phones. I don't know about you, but I'm starting taking photos of public phones now because they're so rare, okay? The other day, it was actually on the motorway, one of these trucks carrying out one of the latest public phone we could find in France, and I thought that's probably an historic day because they're going to disappear. But we're also saying hello to a lot of new trends, okay? Personalized billboards, pay by fingerprint, retail delivery boxes. I recently read an article about this Belgian student working at Delft University who invented a drone system to deliver one of the emergency kits, for the heart, a defibrillator, you call it. So he's going to commercialize it. I think it's fantastic, Those are things which we can say hello to. So the trend and the roadmap which I keep up to date at the moment has more than 500 trends, and we go as far as 2050. And here's just a condense around 25 of these trends. And you can look at them through all different angles, and I'm spending a lot of time actually with our customers to project themselves into the future. But if we take a step back, the future is going to be about transparency, visibility, being more authentic in the way we work, in the way we live. Technology is going to be much more intuitive, and we saw a brilliant demonstration earlier of the video of Intel, around that. But it's also, and very much, about being human, okay? All of that is really coming across as very strong, trend when we look at the future. So, taking a step back into our world, our industry, workplace, real estate, FM, we know that we have to become more asset light, okay? That somehow that reduction of footprint is not going to stop, and that more and more we're going to have to squeeze in, but maybe we need to be more innovative into the way we actually use this space. We also know that the use of digital surfaces and pixels, and again, the video we saw earlier was a good demonstration of that, but our world is going to be full of pixels. And those pixels somehow are going to help us to be more collaborative, sharing more information, and so on. We also know that we're going to become much more collaborative, and the intensity of collaboration is not going to stop. Some of us are doing it the wrong way. We all know it's difficult to collaborate the right way, but we are learning, and towards 2040, definitely this intensity is going to increase. We also become more and more mobile, okay? It doesn't mean long distance. You could be mobile within the community. Imagine what you could do in a radius of 20 kilometers around your house. If only you had a co-working space to go to, if only you had a great cafe where you can meet other collaborators. So it's all going to be about unmetered, mobility. The data is not going to stop coming in, and at the moment, it's actually a little bit too much. I mean, those data, dealing with those data is a bit of a difficulty, and it could be over the top, but that's going to come our way, and somehow we're going to have to make sense out of this cloud. We also know, and I mentioned about that into the trend, that it's more about transparency and visibility, and clearly our life is going to become much more transparent. And I know a lot of us around here, including me, don't like it, but such is the way our world is going to go, and hopefully we'll have means to actually control the level of transparency and visibility we want to give to our life. The whole issues around crowd world is again increasing very fast, and just looking at this slide and the amount of tools, applications, services you can actually have through the cloud is just immense, okay? And it's going to grow even faster and faster. Our world is also to become much more intuitive, and certainly technology will be there to help you to personalize that. And again, we're scared about technology, okay? Those are things which we really need to deal with, little by little. But this example of a new product by Electrolux, I think is fabulous. A little bit like what you saw over there into, you can make your own coffee and, personalize it. I really love the idea of that, and I think more and more of the technology is going to offer that. And we all know, and this morning you had a set of very good sessions on well-being and wellness and food and so on, that well-being and wellness is going to be part of our world in 2040 and is going to become much more important. Remember, authenticity, being human, so that's strongly linked to this. So, what will be the face of this digital worker in 2040, and what will be the impact on the way it's going to work? We know that by 2040, the large majority of people working into so-called offices, maybe, are digital natives, okay? They would have known technology from a very early age, and for them it's an evidence to have technology around. I call it a digiratty, okay? Personally, I much prefer the French name, digitalien, because there's the word alien in it. And I think it's quite fun in 2040 to see yourself as an alien. But this digiratty is going to be tuned in, and it's going to be highly agile, with technology. It's also going to be someone who wants things in real time, a soonologist. Still full of testosterone, okay? Still texting, but with a moral compass. Remember, authenticity, being human, again, resonate a lot with that. We also know that this digiratty is going to be a networker. The power of networking is going to increase. Look at us today. I probably met a lot of people which I network with on a regular basis. One of them is here, Mark, which we never met, and yet we communicate nearly every week, okay? It's like if we've known each other, okay? And that's going to increase more and more. This digiratty also is going to be an immersive collaborator. And again, the technology which was showcased through Intel earlier were a very good example about how much technology is going to be embedded into our environment. I don't want to use generational names, Z, baby boomers, and the rest. I think we need to abandon that, okay? At the end of the day, the digiratty is going to be more of an entrepreneur profile in 2040. He may be a killer, an achiever, socialite, an explorer, but, a human being who is networking, exchanging, and collaborating at a high level. And more important, I keep coming back to that because that resonates a lot, it's a human being and a socialiter at the same time. So, this digital native we'll need to somehow find refuge somewhere. We're still going to be working in 2040, okay? And we probably still, for a proportion of us, still have the same real estate as we have today. But we've got a generation ahead of us to actually transform it. And what I'm going to present you is the result of the first study on trying to decode the day in the life of this digitality in 2040. And from what we know today and projecting ourselves in the future through the road mapping technique which I'm using, what is this day be like in 2040? Well, it will start by what I call smarting the day. We all know the day at work starts at home, and I'm afraid by 2040 it'll still be there, okay? So smarting the day is all very important. It's also about probably staying productive on the move if you decide to move away. It's also about meeting and collaborating. That word, collaborating, is not going to go away. It may change in the way we collaborate and what the support of collaboration. It will also require isolation time. Time for yourself to get away from everything. It will also require high-performance collaboration, where you meet other individuals, where you really crash down war room type of environment. You also be collaborative on the move, so mobile collaboration. Maybe we can envisage having public transport doing that, and quality time at home to wind down, okay? To get close to who you are. So quite a busy day. The size of the bubble is not innocent, because I think that the bigger the size of the bubble, the bigger the importance into your life as a worker in 2040. And certainly a day in 2040 could mean just staying at home, or reaching a collaboration spaces, or even spending time into a meeting room somewhere, into a co-working environment. It doesn't have to be all of it at the same time. So where are we going to collaborate? Well, start at home. So the hive, which we imagine in 2010, is still very relevant. On the move, and that would be a P-hive. I mean, there's a lot of new technology coming on the market. At the moment, we are exploring the whole issues about driverless cars, which by 2040 will be pretty common, okay? So you can spend time doing something else. Gattaca may be existing still, but may have a different shape and different design to what we presented in 2010. Remember, you need to isolate, find time to isolate from the rest of the world. So we created what we call a Faraday cafe in relation to the Faraday cage, which isolates you from all technology and the rest. The eco office is still here. Public transport extension may also change, and the home still become the hive. So we can start looking at different environment you can find refuge in, depending on how you want to organize your day. So how are we going to collaborate? Well, home telepresence is going to be very common. We know that technology is going to forward you everywhere. We also know that all sorts of technology, portable technology, and I mentioned here about interactive glasses, there could be all sorts of other technology you take around with you. Crowdsourcing tools are going also to be very present. You also need of time to really shut down and get away from everything. Working with a team in project spaces, or collaborating on the move, and finally taking time for ourselves, okay? And at the moment, and again, knowing from what we know, there's already a lot of technology in development which actually meet each of those different requirements, as you see here. The space itself is going to be very broad. It doesn't mean because it's a space where you live that you actually can't work, but living space, shopping, banking, meeting, exploring, eating, socializing, all sorts of different working environments, which actually will support that notion of work which you have in 2040. And at the moment, we can see that probably one of the major transformation we can see comes across from the retail environment, offering co-working spaces. There's a lot of initiative at the moment around the banking world, opening their door as co-working spaces, opening public spaces into their offices and so on. So quite a lot of different environment. The kit you're going to have around is also going to be very different. And again, the technology that we know today is going to be present in 2040. So it could be things to enable you to move around, collect information while you're on the move, sharing information, accessing information online, and so on. The work environment, as a consequence, is also going to be transformed. As you see here, we have quite a good range of different type of environment and working environment, which potentially could be spaces you work in. I mentioned about the driverless car. I mean, this type of prototype is already available and being tested at the moment. So no doubt that by 2040 is going to be there. The whole intuitiveness of technology can be seen across all of those products. Okay? Technology will really carry that environment. So how should you get ready, and what do you need to pay attention to? And we've already heard today that there's quite a lot of advice around how to really embrace, change into workplace. So the first aspect is around human and this human capital, which we talked about. We know that the first move for organization at the moment is about shrinking time cycles, being more flexible, addressing flexible schedules of work, addressing also the whole issues around on-demand workforce, and bringing into organization a truly global staffing. Okay, that will again enable to really break out the notion of work and workforce that we know so well today. Social entrepreneurship communities, and that's strongly linked to the networking activities and the fact that you need to think more as entrepreneurs than a corporate organization. On the space side, it's all about context and personalized services, and certainly our world in FN has to do a big step forward to address personalized services. It's also about bringing this higher space and really starting to think about workplaces, about spaces to isolate, spaces for yourself. It's about being autonomous, okay? That space, and somehow in 2040, we don't need to look at organization at just one single location into a mega city center. It's about providing autonomy to individuals to find the space which they want at any given time. Human-machine interface will be there, whether we like it or not, and definitely the office is going to disappear to really turn into incubators, clusters, or ecosystem. Okay, I certainly don't see the type of corporate environment we have today. On the technology side, it's all about intuitiveness. It's always about personalizing, the level of services. And remember that technology by 2020 is going to be very active. It's going to find you. It's going to find smart application which can meet your expectation. It's going to adapt and evolve without you actually controlling it even, and it is available on a meaningful way. Okay? So I all invite you to start rethink about the world of work and really start to project yourself into the future. It's a fantastic way to really break the traditional model that we have today into our corporate organization. Good, thank you.
Great, thank you.